Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm pleased to be here to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to your online learning journey. Now, in all my experience in modern hospitality, I've seen one thing that truly separates the good from the great. It's not just about making guests happy, it's about the delicate art of balancing that happiness with the hotel's standards. And that's exactly what we're going to master today.
This quote right here, this is the heart of what you'll be doing every single day. It really is a tightrope walk between what a guest wants and what the hotel needs. And when you get it right, you're not just providing a service, you're crafting an exceptional experience. That's what professional hospitality is all about.
So how do we get there? Well, we're going to break it down into 5 key areas. First, we'll get into that core conflict. Then, we'll explore why policies exist in the first place, how to bring in that crucial human touch, communicate your decisions with real confidence, and finally, pull it all together to make thoughtful decisions that work for everyone.
All right, let's get right into the thick of it. First up, we really need to understand the fundamental challenge you're going to face every single day at the front desk. And, the very real dangers of leaning too far one way or the other.
It's incredibly easy to fall into one of two traps. On one side, you could give away the house just to please one person, waiving fees left and right, handing out unearned upgrades, which, let's be honest, hurts the business and isn't fair to your other guests. On the other side, you could be a robot, just rigidly enforcing every single rule, leaving that guest feeling completely ignored. The sweet spot, that professional balance, is right in the middle, where guests feel truly special, but the hotel's integrity remains rock solid.
So, how do we find that balance? Well, it all starts with understanding something really important. Hotel policies aren't just random rules. They're actually the foundation, the blueprint for a great experience for everyone. Think of policies as the invisible framework that holds the whole operation together. They're there to make sure things are fair, so every guest gets that same high standard of service. They're there to maintain safety and security, which is absolutely critical, and they create the kind of smooth, consistent operation that makes a stay feel seamless and totally stress-free.
And here's the why in action. Those check-in times, they're not arbitrary. They exist to give housekeeping that crucial window they need to get every room absolutely perfect. The deposit, it protects the hotel's property. And cancellation rules, they allow for responsible inventory management so the hotel can actually stay in business. When you genuinely understand the why, you can explain the what with so much more confidence. But here's the thing, knowing the rules is just step one. The real magic, the true art of hospitality, happens when you learn to apply those rules with a human touch. And that's where your judgment, empathy, and flexibility come into play.
Just look at the difference between these two approaches. On one side, you're just a rule enforcer. The guest leaves unhappy, and they're probably going to tell their friends about it. On the other side, you're a problem solver. You listen to what they need, and you've likely just created a loyal customer for life. It's all about shifting your focus from the rule itself to the person standing right in front of you.
This is where empathy becomes your superpower. Seriously, a guest asking for a late checkout isn't just trying to break a rule. They might be incredibly stressed about catching a late flight. Someone questioning a charge on their bill might just feel they've been wrongly accused. When you can see the emotion behind the request, you can de-escalate almost any situation, even if the final answer is still no.
So, this brings us to the million-dollar question, right? If you can't just break every rule, how in the world do you know when you can bend a little and when you have to stand firm? Well, it's all about knowing the difference between a hard rule and a soft guideline. Things related to safety, security, and legal regulations, those are completely non-negotiable. They're there to protect everyone. But things like honoring a specific room preference or waiving a small minor fee, that's where you have the power to use your professional judgment and create a really memorable moment for that guest.
Okay, so you've assessed the situation, you've used your judgment, and you've made a decision. Now comes the part that can make or break the entire interaction, communicating it. This is where you can turn a potential no into a positive, respectful experience. When you have to say no, I want you to remember this simple 3-step process. Acknowledge, explain, and offer. First, you acknowledge their request with genuine empathy. I totally understand why that's important to you. Second, you explain the policy clearly, without a bunch of hotel jargon. And third, and this is so important, always offer a meaningful alternative. It shows them you're still on their team, working to find a solution.
Your words have incredible power. We can't do that is just a dead end. It shuts the conversation down. But let me see what options I can offer. That opens up possibilities. It's against hotel policy, sounds like a brick wall. But
I understand why you're asking. That starts to build a bridge. It's all about framing the conversation as a collaboration, not a conflict.
And never forget, your tone of voice is your secret weapon. When you are warm, confident, and respectful, you can deliver almost any kind of news, and the guest will still feel like they were heard and valued. That confidence, it doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from knowing that you're making the right call for both the guest and the hotel.
All right, let's bring this all home. This isn't just a set of tactics or tricks. This is about truly adopting the mindset of a hospitality professional.
You have to remember that every single decision you make has a ripple effect. A small, thoughtful gesture today can create a guest who is loyal for life, someone who tells all their friends and family. But a poor decision or making an unfair exception can create a real headache for your colleagues down the line. You have to always be thinking about that long-term impact.
So really, it all boils down to these 4 pillars: empathy, fairness, clarity, and confidence. You need to master these. Make them second nature. If you can do that, you're not just going to succeed in your career, you will help redefine what it means to be an outstanding hospitality professional. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. The very next time you're face-to-face with a guest, how are you going to use these 4 pillars to turn a simple, everyday interaction into a truly memorable experience? The answer to that question, well, that's what's going to define your entire career. Thank you.